School League Basketball Championships, presented by the Virginia College Savings Plan.
And a very pleasant good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Richmond, Virginia and the Siegel Center for this Group AAA Boys Championship game tonight between the Petersburg Crimson Wave, #1 in the state, and IC Norcom, ranked #9 in the state. Welcome back, Terry Sosiski, along with my partner Robert Fish. It doesn't get better than this. Both teams are athletic, and both teams can bring the crowd to its feet at any moment, at any time.
Now, we've got a big crowd for this final game. We've already seen some outstanding basketball. This is one everybody's been anticipating. Petersburg's expected to be here, and Norcom's gotten to this point as well. And it's been an interesting ride for both of these teams, Terry, to get to this point right now.
And let's take a look at the brackets here coming up, Robert. Petersburg High School and IC Norcom.
Well, Norcom had a pretty good run there for a while. They got past Thomasdale, they got past Chantilly, and this is just in the quarterfinals. Petersburg had to get through Maury, and Maury was awfully tough. They knocked out Kingsford, the defending champion, who beat Petersburg last year. And then Petersburg had to take out a tough Patrick Henry team in the semifinals just to get to this point. So this is a great matchup right now.
No question about that, Robert. Of course, the Haley Pontiac GMC keys to the game presented by Haley Pontiac. GMC, professional grade terrain. Visit HaleyAuto.net.
Well, let's take a look at those keys. Up tempo for Petersburg. Push, 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 and get the crowd involved. That's not going to be too hard to do, obviously. This is a pretty hometown crowd for them. Norcom's got to avoid the dry spells. They can't go a long period of time without scoring. They've got to be able to control the tempo as well. Otherwise, Petersburg will get off and running, and you really don't want to get into that kind of game with them. So it's really a contrast in styles. Norcom can run, but they want to try to control the tempo a little bit more.
This crowd is already in the game, and we haven't had the tip-off yet. I see Norcom in Petersburg as Norcom looks for their first state championship ever. We'll come back to the Siegel Center to see if they can pull the upset tonight.
Mom, Dad, I need to ask you a question. Have you started saving for my college?
It's important.
And tuition keeps rising.
Do me a favor and go to Virginia529.com and check out the Virginia Prepaid Education Program. It helps you save now for tomorrow's tuition. The benefits can be used anywhere.
Don't wait.
Enrollment ends soon. Seriously. You can thank me later.
There's a new light shining in Southeastern banking. That light is BB&T. We may be new in town, but we're not new to banking. For more than 135 years, our rock-solid values have safely guided clients through all kinds of financial weather. If you're looking for exceptional service in your financial relationship, we invite you to give us a try and experience the BB&T difference today. BB&T, best bank in town since 1872.
Ethics, integrity, respect, values we teach our children. Values you should always demonstrate on the field, from the sidelines, and in the stands. You see, good sportsmanship is about more than what we said. It's how we all became great as coaches, players, and fans. Remember, without good sportsmanship, there is no game. A message from the Virginia High School League.
Welcome back to the Siegel Center in Richmond, Virginia. There you see it, boys group AAA. Probably a few more Petersburg fans than Norcom fans, but believe me, if Norcom gets off to a good start, you'll hear from this crowd. A side note on this ball game, Robert, Bill Lawson broke his left foot in a freakish accident back in the middle of February, and he limped into the gymnasium at Prince George High School for the Central District Tournament back on February 16th. It looks like he's a lot more mobile than he was, say, 4 weeks ago. And here we go with the Petersburg lineup.
Well, you take a look at these starting lineups, of course, tonight. Petersburg's got a lot of, they're missing 4 guys, as you well know, Terry. They're missing 4 guys from last year's team, but they still have Quentin Spain, and Devon Maxwell was a 6th man last year. Frank Mason's in there. I mean, they have 4 starters out from last year's runner-up, and they're still back here again. So.
Starting lineup sponsored by the Virginia College Savings Plan. Do you have a game plan for college? Get in touch for Virginia529.com. How about IC Norcom and their big kid in the middle?
Dorian Finney-Smith is the guy. His brother Ben plays at Old Dominion. But don't discount DeCarlos Anderson. He's the emotional leader on this team. And the big guy Cameron Mack is getting football looks from Virginia and Virginia Tech. I think he already has offers from both. So they've got some athletes in here. But this Anderson kid, while Finney-Smith is the main guy, Anderson's going to be an interesting one to watch in this game tonight because he really can handle the ball, and he's worked hard in the offseason. I mean, this is a great matchup we've got to close this out with. Don't discount this Norcom club. I know everybody's focused on the Wave because they've been so good in 53, 54-1 in the last 54 games. We saw that with Madison earlier.
Yep.
The pressure's on when you're at that point. They can't play tight. You've seen them. You know what they're about. But I think it's Norcom club. Anybody who came out of there, whether it was Norcom or Maury or Kingsport, let's not forget, that Maury knocked off Kingsport. Norcom lost to Maury in the Eastern District tournament, then turned around and beat them later on. So, I mean, this is a good basketball team right here.
Dorian Finney-Smith, 20 points a game, 13 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists a game, the Eastern Region Player of the Game. And here's Quentin Spain, who's a mountain of a man headed to West Virginia to play football, but he's not worried about football just yet.
And that's going to be interesting, too, because I don't know that Norcom has anybody that can handle Spain. Yes, they have Mack, who's a defensive end type, but he's a little bit more wiry, and he is getting Division I looks from Virginia and Virginia Tech. I don't know that they can handle Spain in the middle, and that may be a big factor in this game.
As you watch the ball game and take a look at Duvon Maxwell jumping center against Finney-Smith, Maxwell loves to dunk the ball and bring the crowd to its feet. One of the keys you talked about earlier, Robert, as far as Petersburg getting the crowd involved. And they lean on the point guard that you see, Tyree Desmore, as they get the ball to Spain, who's averaging 12 points a game, and he gets fouled going up. That's the matchup you talked about with Cameron Mack picking up his first.
Yeah, well, right away, that's not a good matchup or not a good result for Norcom. You don't want Mack in foul trouble. I mean, he's a big kid you got to have in the middle. And so Spain's a big lineman. He's going to play for West Virginia along the offensive and defensive front somewhere. I mean, he's just a huge, as you said, a mountain.
Non-shooting foul. Mason has the ball, and he's connected on 53s for Petersburg, but DeCarlos Anderson, who's guarding him, he scored 21 points against Thomas Dale last Saturday. You can make the argument if Anderson come big, they don't play here tonight. Anderson's a fine player, and that's a great block by Cameron Mack to cause the jump ball, and that's exactly what I see Norcom. They're not going to be pushed around underneath, Robert.
All righty, Spain wins round 1 with a foul. Mack wins round 2 with a block shot. Good play for Mack there.
Also, you'll notice that Finney-Smith at 6'7" can also bring the ball up the floor as Petersburg deflects the ball, but it goes right back to Smith, who gets it down to Canty, and County loses the ball off his hands, and again, both teams very jittery. Leon Gouldsby, 81-25 in his 4th year as head coach of this team, meaning IC Norcom, and Leon Gouldsby saw his team pull out a thriller last week against Thomas Dale. Really had the home court advantage playing in the eastern part of the state at William and Mary. Spain will not dribble the ball very much, but he will. Desmore, who's averaging 10 points a game. Mason will shoot from anywhere, but he traveled there, and both teams uptight so far, Robert.
You would expect a little bit of that, perhaps. And, you mentioned Mason. He's he's only a sophomore, Terry. For Bill Lawson there, he'll drive the bus a little bit, trying to get that offense in gear. Petersburg just wants to get out and go.
Bill Lawson watching a three-point attempt in. Beautifully done by James Theus. His brother Darius Theus plays for VCU here at the Siegel Center, and Norcom does what they needed to do, and they put in a 3 from the outside. And Petersburg, which hasn't trailed very much, and now Kevin Green, the starting quarterback in football, says, I'll match you one, and he did from the outside. Good move by Canty. And here's Anderson, a great three-point shooter, missed that one, and Maxwell gets the rebound for Petersburg in a tie game.
You mentioned Theus earlier for Norcom. Darius Theus is gone as the point guard.
And that's rejected by Finney-Smith. Great block by Finney-Smith. And he wins round 1 of that battle underneath with Maxwell. And Canty from outside misses the shot. And Kevin Green, averaging 5 rebounds a game, gets one there, Robert.
So with Theus's departure, you put your Carlos Anderson at the point.
Every time this young man touches the ball, the crowd comes to its feet because you don't know if he's going to take a 3 or drive it to the bucket. Robert, interesting stat here. He leads Petersburg with the most free throws attempted at 162. Not a bad for 5'10".
Not bad for a sophomore either. You might think Spain would get that honor as big as he is down low, and they might attack him a little bit more, but not necessarily the case.
Mason shooting 75% as he puts Petersburg ahead. You know, Robert, speaking of Spain, one of the reasons he doesn't lead the team is he missed 4 games when he was involved in that United States Army All-Star game, the only player from the state of Virginia to go to San Antonio, Texas.
And that's a football game that you're speaking of, obviously. Only the top recruits in the country that can play in that.
Yep. Another rebound for Finney-Smith. Finney-Smith also, much like Maxwell, if Finney-Smith dunks the ball, the crowd will come to life. Theus misses that one, and Mason going to start the fast break. And Maxwell gets hammered going up.
Now, this is not what Norcom wants, I can tell you that right now. Leon Goolsby, they will run, but this is not what he's going to want right here, because Norcom really kind of would need to slow the game down a little bit here. Get Finney-Smith involved inside and open up the outside a little bit more, because right now they're not really getting what they want. They've got to control the tempo and, again, avoid those dry spells and try to get points on the board. They can't let Petersburg get out and run.
If there's one bad part about his game, meaning Maxwell, he's only shooting 53% from the foul line. He had a career-high 33 against Dinwiddie early in the year. And that's the one thing that hurt him last year against Kingsport, Robert. And clutch time down the stretch, Petersburg missed a lot of key free throws. And that's their bugaboo the last 2 years.
Now, it can certainly hurt you.
And here's the guy to Carlos Anderson that can hurt you too.
Now, he's going to the point. Remember, we mentioned Theus is gone. He ran the point for them last year. And Carlos Anderson really worked hard in the offseason to refine those skills at the point position.
Finney-Smith's going to drive and get fouled on the outside. With 5 minutes to go in a low-scoring game, but that's been what we've seen in the first 4 games. Maxwell picked it up, right? And that will check Nicholson out of the ball game, and Shelton Haskins, a 6'6" senior. Dorian Smith lays it in neatly on the left side. He has 5 double-doubles in his last 7 ball games, Robert. So if he gets a double-double tonight, Norcom has a chance for the upset, and they have the lead by 1.
He's also a very unselfish player. I mean, he does a lot of things. He's very versatile, and we'll see a lot. Versatility is a key word for him in this game.
Kevin Green, here's Desmore, puts up a jumper, no good. He is the son of John Walker, who played for the late Bill Lawson Jr. back in the mid-1980s, and now Tyree Desmore trying to do something his dad couldn't do, and that's win a state title. And right now, Dorian Smith has a lot to say about that, as does James Canty. But Maxwell gets another block. And Kevin Green's going to fast break it and get it to Mason in the corner. He'll step and throw it low to Spain, but it goes off his hands. Little nerves here, Robert.
Little flash from Petersburg there.
But they didn't finish it. Norcom has the 5-4 lead. Smith whistle away from the ball, and that might be on Canty. And him and Mason are doing a little drawing right now. They want to get a technical early in the game.
Too early for that mess.
Called it on Mason.
I think it's on Canty.
Yep, Canty, you're right.
Now, Canty's a Liberty commitment. He is a junior, and he's committed to Liberty, at least for the moment.
And we'll get a break here at the Siegel Center. IC Norcom wants to keep the score low. On par so far, 5-4. Petersburg, #1 of the state. They got a battle on their hands.
Mom, Dad,
We need to talk.
I know this topic makes you uncomfortable, but soon I'm going to have to make some choices. In-state or out-of-state? Public or private? Savings or loans?
I found a website to help answer all your questions about saving for college.
It's Virginia529.com.
They have a lot of programs and options.
It's easy, affordable, and tax advantaged. Check it out, okay? I'm glad we had this talk.
Your Your business isn't quite so small anymore. And with all the growth comes the need for more protection. The people you trust for banking can serve your insurance needs too. BB&T. Over 80 years experience, 7th largest insurance broker in the country, 8th in the world. No matter what business you're in, our insurance professionals have the expertise and sound advice to protect you. BB&T Insurance Services. Global resources, client-focused.
From swimming to fishing, the James River has something for everyone. I love kayaking because nothing compares to being on the river just having fun. But it's always saddening to see a piece of trash float by. So please, remember that future generations want to enjoy the river just as we do.
Enter the James and Me video contest. Create your own Don't Trash the River themed commercial, and you could win $1,000. Visit foxrichmond.com for details.
Welcome back to the Siegel Center. Bill Lawson III in his 8th year as head coach of Petersburg. A remarkable run, 59 out of 60. And the amazing part about that, he's won 110 of his last 121 games. He never talks about himself. He talks about his players. And I asked him, Robert, the other day, did he ever get nervous? And he said, he came up to me after the game the other night and said, you look more nervous than I do, and you're not even playing. So he's a very calm individual, and he's getting his feeding back very nicely. Norcom doing a good job of Spain. Now he gets the ball down low, and that's rejected by Finney-Smith. Great block by Finney-Smith. And right now he's got the edge on the West Virginia bound Spain. And now foul from away from the ball, and let's see who that's on, 22. And we're going to see a pretty good block here.
Well, that's part of it. If you're going to let Spain get the ball in there, you better be able to play from behind. The big man turns, but Smith with a little more ups, a little bit longer reach than Spain. But if you let the big man get established in there, again, you either got to front him or you got to play behind him. And if you play behind him, you better be able to block the shot.
And another steal and another turnover as Haskins gets the ball down to Dorian Finney-Smith, and he finger rolls it in. He's got 4 points.
There's the versatility. He can post, he can wing it, he can bring it up, he can score in a variety of ways, and if you let him get going, he is tough to handle.
It's a 3-point lead. Maxwell is going to fake the 3, now step to the baseline and miss it. Boxing out beautifully is to Carlos Anderson. This could be a big weekend for the family of Dorian Finney-Smith. His mom's been in attendance the last couple of weeks, and she was in Richmond last Monday to watch Old Dominion and Ben Finney win that championship in the CAA over William & Mary. So how about this? They could get 2 championships in a week, Robert.
Absolutely.
Pretty good look there, and nice box out, and a reach over foul on Dorian Finney-Smith. He wish he had that back.
Trying to take advantage of that height.
Yeah.
And a little bit, you can't come over the top, even if you're taller and that much longer than everybody else.
2:13 to play. Normally Petersburg averages 75 points a game. Opponents 54.
I don't think they're going to get 75 tonight.
It'll be very tough. But they may hold their opponent to 54. Mason hasn't had a good look at a 3 yet. He leads the team with 50. Desmore can shoot the 3, but he's not the 3-point specialist, and this is great defense by Norcom. Excellent defense. And Anderson can guard anybody in the state to Carlos Anderson. Petersburg had a tough time getting off a good shot, and they're down by 3. Plenty of time in the first period. Boy, they just can't get anybody free right now, and Kevin Green gives to Spain, who stumbled and traveled and fell out of bounds.
And again, I'm going to remind everybody that Norcom won the Eastern District this year, so they're regular season champs. They lost to Maury in the tournament, but came back and got a win over them later. They're playing against teams like Maury and Phoebus and Kingsport. They beat Kingsport the first game of the year.
They put the 6'1" Desmore on Dorian Finney-Smith because Desmore arguably is the best defender Petersburg has. And Desmore comes up with a loose ball and just lays it up and missed it. Maxwell battles for it, but it goes off his hands and out of bounds, and Petersburg very tight right now.
Well, we haven't seen Maxwell get going yet, and you know, he's kind of a highlight machine, Terry, and a little bit more of a dunk machine, as you well know, but we really haven't seen him get going in the offense, and he's used to getting loose on the open floor.
Pretty good pass to Kevin Green, and that's there you go. Spain missed the shot. But the ball's deflected out to Frankie Smith. So we're under a minute, and Petersburg only has 4 points in the first 8 minutes. Until, nope, he missed the layup.
Now that's a tough matchup for Maxwell, I think, going against Finney-Smith down inside. Finney-Smith able to get the height to handle him at 6'7". Maxwell's going to have to find other ways to score rather than challenge Smith in there in the post.
Green will inbound it. Mason catches and gets it out to Desmore. Spain down low, maneuvers, lays it up, and will go to the free throw line, shooting 64%.
And it looks like, Terry, that Norcom's got not necessarily wide bodies, but a lot of big bodies that they can run in there. Haskins got that foul. He's 6'6". We've seen Mack in there with a foul. He's 6'6". They may run a lot of guys in there to battle inside with Spain. And of course, Finney-Smith is 6'7", to battle Spain and Maxwell inside.
As we mentioned now, Petersburg is 1 for 4 at the line. As a team, Robert, they go to the free throw line more than anybody in their district. But they're only shooting 60% from the foul line, so that could be a bugaboo tonight.
Yeah, in close games, you know, when you're doing what Petersburg has done, when they pretty much run everybody off the floor this year in regular season play, you get in the postseason, you got to hit a few more of those free throws.
7-5 now. I see Norcom. Pretty good drive there, but the miss. And Maxwell gets a rebound, and now Petersburg wants to move it up into the front court, down by 2. Under 30 seconds in the first half. How about this three? In and out. And guess who got the rebound? Finney-Smith, always in the right place. And now they're going to settle for the final shot and play the half court.
See his versatility right here, Terry. He's going to bring the ball up. And a hand check foul on Petersburg there, but now you're seeing the versatility of Smith. Get the rebound, I'll just bring it up. I don't have to give it to my point guard. I can do it myself. I mean, he's an unselfish player. I mean, this kid's fun to watch.
And on the next level, he could play point guard at 6'7". Right, inbounds to Smith, Finney-Smith.
Don't forget, he's just a junior.
Just put up a long jump shot and miss it. Mason picks up the loose ball with 4 seconds. He goes coast to coast and gets fouled going up. And that is a huge break for Petersburg with less than 2 seconds to go. I believe that's his second.
That's going to be 2 fouls on Finney-Smith, and that's not good news for Norcom.
No.
Take another look here. Mason off to the races. This is what Petersburg wants. They want to get it and go. Get it up tempo. And there is definitely a foul there as Mason took it all the way in.
Last year, Mason played very little until the Central District Tournament when he made 3 threes against Thomas Dale in a tough victory that Petersburg had. But now he's a starter, and he'll be back the next 2 years.
2 of 7 from the line now, Terry, in the early going. That doesn't bode well.
No. They've been to the line over 710 times now as he drops it in. It's a 1-point game, and Anderson throws up a prayer and almost hit it. That would have been pretty special. As it is, I see Norcom has the pace that they want to, and Leon Goolsby is happy about his team leading by 1 point. State championship in the balance. Petersburg trying to stay undefeated. We'll find out when we come back.
You call that dancing? Idiot! I am sick of people laughing at me, dancing around, trying to get attention to step up. Can anyone else come up with an idea? I want one idea. I want one answer and one person to speak now. How about $1 down? $1 down? Are you a genius? That's right. Buy your pay here for $1 down. Now we got something to dance about. Right, Matt?
Loveland Distributing and Fox Richmond would like to congratulate Kristen Papadakis, winner of this year's Lights Camera Take Action video contest. Here is her winning entry, Big Baby.
When's the right time to take a fresh look at your financial future? To adjust, to fine-tune. 30, 40, 50. There's never been a better time than now to talk to a BB&T Wealth Advisor. We ask questions, we listen and learn, and then we help you plan to make sure the wealth you have works for you as long as you need it. So the big party we call life never has to end. Don't wait to start planning for what's ahead. Do it today.
Congratulations to this week's winner. Text FLAG to 67336 to see this week's challenge leaders. Brought to you by Little Caesars, home of a large hot and ready pizza. So you think you know auto racing? Fox Richmond is putting you to the test. Every week all season long, you can compete for your chance to win. Go to foxrichmond.com, click on the challenge logo, sign up and pick who you think will finish 1st through 10th in the upcoming race. It's that easy. To learn more, visit foxrichmond.com and we'll see you in Victory Lane.
And the IC Norcom cheerleaders are happy to see that IC Norcom has a 1-point lead over Petersburg. And IC Norcom wants to keep the game in the 40s. They're on par for that, Robert.
Yeah, they definitely want to control the tempo. I mean, I think they'll be happy if it's, down in the 60s probably. Below 70 might be a magic number, but they definitely want to keep things down. 60s, 50s type game and see if they can't just take time and work things out.
A missed shot by Desmore, and DeCarlos Anderson comes up with a rebound. Now, Dorian Finney-Smith is in the game with 2 fouls.
That was a good look from Desmore.
Really was. Shot. Candy, pretty good defense here as Anderson is double teamed out front. Good pass to Theus. Down low to Mack. Long 3. It is good by James Theus. How about Theus from the outside, Robert?
He is a senior. We didn't hear a whole lot about him in talking about this club getting ready for this year, but he's one of those role players that can come in and do some things. He knocked down a couple of big threes there.
Desmore. Here's Maxwell, who needs to get involved in the offense, and a checking foul on Cameron Mack, which will be his second.
That's 2 on him. So now that's mounting trouble for Norcom and Leon Gouldsby here. They've got to really be careful. We mentioned he looks to have a lot of bodies that he can run in there, but you certainly don't want to lose Mack. And you don't want to lose Finney-Smith, but Mack's going to sit down.
And here's Maxwell, 0 for 2 at the line. We told you about his troubles at the line at 53% and more troubles there. Interesting, only 1 foul shot was taken as Candy comes into the front court.
Well, Norcom's got 9 team fouls already. So.
And Theus, shot is no good, goes over the backboard. And Petersburg has only 6 points in almost 10 minutes of play.
And now you've seen them all year long, so they probably have not seen a whole lot of this type of game to this point.
Teams have tried to slow it down. Now they've seen this. Spain just muscles his way in, and Dorian Finney-Smith does a great job just to stay away from the play. And you got a guy 345 at you. No time to play defense with 2 fouls. Anderson can slash. And there's your block shot number 2 for Maxwell. And here's Tyree Desmore. Again, Spain down low. Great strategy, but blocked. He gets it back, leans in and lays it up, no good. Great pass from Finney-Smith to Anderson and taken away by Tyree Desmore. And that's what he does as well as anybody, steals the ball.
As long as Finney-Smith is on Spain, they're going to keep pounding the ball in there because he's got 2 fouls and he almost got a 3rd.
Mason maneuvers and lays it up no good. He's really struggled early on.
And Mason's got to realize when he goes in there that he's got to take it right at Smith because he's got the foul trouble to deal with.
Steal by Desmore, and Maxwell goes down to the floor. It'll be Petersburg's ball. A lot of players on both sides played football. Looked like somebody got upended at the 45-yard line, going down the other way. Wow. Kevin Green's the starting quarterback on the football team. Quentin Spain's headed to West Virginia to pound in the Big East. A 2-point lead. Right about Robert, you got that matchup, and they're getting the ball down low.
Well, Spain's looking for the foul, and that's where Petersburg's going in there. And those 2 fouls on Smith. That is one big man right there.
He is a mountain, and the mountain is trying to be moved, and he's called for traveling. Now he had to be pulled from the game last week, Robert. When I say pulled, he got too emotional, and Bill Lawson had to take him off the bench.
I'll tell you one thing that Petersburg's got to be careful of here. They don't try to do that too much. They want to get that third foul on Finney-Smith, but don't let the entire quarter go by and not capitalize on some other opportunities. Get the ball in there, and kick it back out, see if it opens up some three-point shooting. Because somebody's going to have to collapse and help Spain, or help against Spain. If Finney-Smith stays in there with 2 fouls, you don't have a defender, you need to collapse. It might open up some three-point shooting. Maybe they need to go in and back out rather than trying to get that third foul. In other words, they're concentrating way too much on that instead of trying to score.
That's a great point. And because you've got a guy like Frank Mason, who's hit 53s, you'd expect if they collapsed on him that he would be open. Mason is struggling from the field, but Robert, here's the interesting part about Mason. He'll go through 2 or 3 quarters and do nothing, and then come up with 2 or 3 threes in the fourth quarter. And as you suggested, they weren't involved in a lot of close games. They had 3 really good games with Thomas Dale and 3 with Meadowbrook earlier this year.
Thomas Dale advanced considerably in this playoff. I mean, they faced a couple of these teams. They ended up losing to Norcom. The Petersburg Maury game was the one that Petersburg, I think, had a real stiff challenge there. And Patrick entered on it for a while in the semis, but not. They put that game away toward the end. I think it was about a 20-point game.
And there's Leon Gouldsby up by 2, and that score is correct. And we're also in the second quarter. That is not a misprint.
We've seen some low-scoring games already in these 4 championship games that we've had.
Canny's averaging 9 points a game. He's not the big-time scorer, although he makes a move and lays it up and gets caught on the side of the rim for a ball.
Yeah, that got stuck long enough to blow the whistle before it was tipped out.
So Norcom will try to build on a 2-point lead with about 5 minutes to go in the first half.
I think he shows some leaping ability. I mean, like I say, he's a commitment to liberty. He'll play some college basketball there.
Canny's averaging in the state 6 3-point attempts a game. And Kevin Green does what he does best and steals it, and watch out below. 2-hand knocks to dunk, and that's what you talked about to get the crowd revved up.
Yeah, that's what Petersburg needs more of. They can get it. The highlight reel from Maxwell, the dunk machine, to get that crowd going, and here they go.
They keep count of dunks the last 2 years for Petersburg, but DeCarlos Anderson quiets the crowd with a nice drive to the right. Next play, Robert, by Anderson.
The emotional and energetic leader. Here goes Petersburg. Maxwell's getting hot now. That's where he's got to find ways to score, not in the half-court game, but get out in the open floor. Norcom does not want to get into this kind of game. They can run, but I don't think they want to do it tonight.
And Anderson throws up a prayer, no good, and then we have a reach-over foul, I believe, on Shelton Haskins.
And the fouls are mounting now against IC Norcom here. That's number 10.
And that means free throws, double bonus for the rest of the half. You know, if you look at the scoreboard, 2 fouls on Petersburg. And Robert, we're going to see one of the highlight films that you and I expected about an hour ago when we signed on.
Well, this is Maxwell's game. He's, he can do other things, obviously, but he is a human highlight reel when it comes to getting on the fast break. He's going to finish it without question. And that's going to be his game, but he's going to have to get out on the break. They're going to concentrate on him. They've got the bodies to handle him half court. 2 shots coming up here.
Now 0 for 4 at the line.
And that is a chink in the Waves armor right now. What are they for the game now? 3 of 9 from the free throw line.
He was really below 50% back in January and started making free throws, but not tonight. And that fell right in the lap of Dorian Finney-Smith. He's now 0 for 5. It's a tie ball game and a low-scoring game under 4 minutes. Ooh. Tough pass there by Haskins. He threw it over right head.
Just a blind pass altogether.
Both teams will go back to their benches here at the Siegel Center. Both teams are frustrated with shooting early on. Petersburg can't get a 3 off. We'll come back to see what they can do in a 12-12 game.
Mom, Dad, I need to ask you a question. Have you started saving for my college?
It's important.
And tuition keeps rising.
Do me a favor and go to Virginia529.com and check out the Virginia Prepaid Education Program. It helps you save now for tomorrow's tuition. The benefits can be used anywhere.
Don't wait.
Enrollment ends soon. Seriously. can thank me later.
When's the right time to take a fresh look at your financial future? To adjust, to fine-tune. 30, 40, 50. There's never been a better time than now to talk to a BB&T Wealth Advisor. We ask questions, we listen and learn, and then we help you plan to make sure the wealth you have works for you as long as you need it. So the big party we call life never has to end. Don't wait to start planning for what's ahead. Do it today.
Ethics, integrity, respect. Values we teach our children. Values we should always demonstrate on the field, from the sidelines, and in the stands. You see, good sportsmanship is about more than what we say. It's how we all became great as coaches, players, and fans. Remember, without good sportsmanship, there is no game. A message from the Virginia High School League.
Welcome back to the Siegel Center. This game is following the script of the first three. Low scoring, tightness, tenseness, and bad shots on both sides.
And the favorite, or the prohibitive, not the prohibitive favorite, but the one that's anticipated to be here is the one with all the pressure.
One too many passes, but they got away with it. Petersburg did, as they'll hang on to the ball. Free throw shooting. Robert, as you mentioned, a bugaboo tonight. 2 of 8. 4 of 18 shooting for Petersburg, but not now as Quentin Fain lays it in.
That's a little bit too easy, but it's hard to keep the big man out of there once he gets established.
14-12 now. Dorian Finney-Smith trying to get going. He has 4 points, but 2 fouls. And I believe Spain was grabbing the shirt of Nicholson. Yep, he grabbed the shirt, and this time the official saw it, and Quentin does not argue.
I mean, when you take a look at him and consider him for football, obviously, most kids come out of high school just aren't that big.
He's huge, and
He's already got a head start on everybody when he gets to West Virginia.
I'll tell you who's going to miss him next year is Canny puts up the jumper, no good, but Dorian Finney-Smith shot is blocked by Maxwell, and what he does better than anybody when he blocks shots, Robert, he keeps it in bounds. Jump ball Petersburg. The guy that's going to miss him the most is Mike Scott, the head coach of the Petersburg football team. He took 2 defenders to hold him up on the line.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And even with the size that some of the teams have in the Central District and a few other around the region to play football, it takes a load to handle that guy.
Traveling violation. 14-12 Petersburg. Bill Lawson getting around a lot better than he was a month ago. He had that crutches. Hard to coach when you're on crutches. And Anderson, full of energy himself, will be guarded out front. Finney-Smith. Nice look on a 3, and it's good by James Theus, Robert, his 3rd 3 of the night.
A big first half from Theus, and we didn't have a lot about him when we came into the game today, but he has really played a huge role in this contest.
They leave Desmore wide open, and he says, why not? Had 12 points in the second half of the semifinal win the other night against Patrick Henry Roanoke. Look at Canty floating one up and in for 2.
Canty may end up at Liberty, but he's looking like he's got the game to play maybe a different level than that, but he's going to end up there at least for now, and there's a travel on Petersburg.
Yep. Desmore got caught in the air and nowhere to pass the basketball, and he kind of looks to Duval Maxwell. If I see Norcom drew up a game plan, this would be pretty much it, wouldn't it, Robert?
Yeah, I think that's something they're comfortable with. They certainly didn't want to run. And they did, they're avoiding the dry spell, so nice play.
Maxwell coast to coast. He jams it in with 2 hands. Duval Maxwell. He can't make any free throws tonight, but he doesn't have to worry about that.
That gets everybody fired up again.
Petersburg scrambling on defense. And Theus is finally guarded on the outside, but not Finney-Smith. And here's Maxwell with a rebound off to Desmore, and Petersburg really wants to run on this possession. But Anderson does a good job of cutting him off. Maxwell. He doesn't need to go to the line, does he?
He's heating up a little bit. Leon Goolsby knows it and wants a timeout.
And now Theus and Frankie Smith, they need to separate these two players. Boy,
yeah, that's not something we want to see here.
No. You know, Petersburg does do a lot of talking. They do a lot of pulling on jerseys and things like that. But Frankie Smith, 16 years of age, needs to walk away from that.
Well, Maxwell got going, Terry, and he gets going with a couple of highlight reel plays. Tries to get going off the dunks, and maybe they've been able to set him up with some open looks. He had a three-pointer earlier, but
Duvon Maxwell, take our word for it. He slammed it in neatly. And the officials, Robert, are getting together. And here we go, Robert.
Yeah, the opportunity to get going in the open court, the dunks, make a couple of baskets. And he's heating up a little now, bombing from three-point land.
He's only made 12 threes this year, so that's unusual, but it gives him another weapon. And now the officials are going to speak to each coach and say, make sure you tell your players to use a little bit better judgment of saying things on the court. And depending on who you're rooting for, you're not sure whose fault that is.
Well, the timeout was called, and Theus and Mason were down in the corner on the baseline. And then Theus tried to get Mason out of his face, and Mason turned and said something to him, and then the two of them squared off. And
you know, cooler heads prevail. Leon Goolsby's talking to the official now.
When you're 29-0, you bring some sort of attitude anyway. Of course, I see Norcom's not going to back down, and if James Theus continues to play the way he's doing it, they got a chance to win this ball game.
They're still talking to Goolsby. I have no idea what discussion could be about, but
good job by the officials to at least stop the action for a few moments.
I don't know if they issued a warning to both sides.
Probably.
You know, obviously that can happen in football more so than maybe it happens in basketball. Usually you just give the tee, but they may have tried to calm both sides down. They didn't call double technical or anything as far as I know, although there is a foul on the board against Mason.
Dorian Finney-Smith, they're down to 50 seconds. Canty drives and lays it in. Nice finger roll by Jeremy Canty. And as you mentioned, he's come to play with 4 points. It's a 3-point lead for Petersburg. And if they want it, they can hold for the final shot. Green looking for help, and Desmore helped bail him out.
You know, they may have double fouled Mason and Canty after that altercation in the corner because each had a foul go up on the board. That wasn't there a moment ago.
Maxwell's going to take another three and miss it, but Spain gets the easy rebound, lays it up no good. Battles for the rebound, and it'll belong to IC Norcom, so all they need is a basket to cut the lead to 1.
14 seconds. Maybe get Finney-Smith off the floor if you're Norcom, but he might be able to play without the third foul at the end of the half.
Here's a guy that can tie it up in a hurry to Carlos Anderson.
Well, that was a mistake.
Foul. Is that going to be on the big guy, 54, Spain? Got a pretty good look here, Robert.
Well, open lane to the basket for a moment, but it closed pretty quick. And Spain can't help it. I mean, he could still block a shot. The guy could bump into him and ricochet off all the way out to Broad Street.
This young man, DeCarlos Anderson, he had 21 points against Dale. He's averaging 11.5, but he was the MVP of the Old Dominion team camp last summer.
He's a tough player. As I said, he worked on his skills over the summer with Theus gone to be a point guard because a lot of folks were concerned who was going to play the point for this team with Theus, who's Darius Theus. Now here at VCU, who was going to play the point?
And what has been the common theme of all 4 games today, the underdogs have kept the score very low, made it a half-court game, frustrated their opponent, and that's a Big free throw there by Carlos Anderson with 7 seconds to go, and Petersburg's lead is down to 1. Mason will try to change it, and he does.
He got down the floor in a hurry.
That's the end of the first half, and Frankie Mason's 2-point field goal gives Petersburg a 3-point lead in a very competitive, and I do mean competitive, first half. And in just a moment, we're going to have Joe Sullivan talk with Bill Lawson III. So let's go down to the court. Here's Joe Sullivan with Bill Lawson. Joe?
All right, Terry, thank you very much. Tempers flared late in the first half. Coach, what did the officials say to you?
The two got a little tangled up, right there at the timeout. It's just both kids playing hard, that's all.
Your team's used to scoring in the 70s. Low-scoring game right now. Their defense playing well, or is it your offense a little struggling?
Both of them. This championship game, everybody's trying to win. They're playing hard, D, and, we just got to execute a little bit more offense.
All right, good luck in the second half, Coach. We're at the half here in Richmond, where Petersburg High School has the lead, 24-21. We'll come back to Richmond right after the break.
Good ball.
Introducing the premier collection, in-house financing, and auto connection.
The new Fox Sunday is here.
Time to spread the word.
Hello? Guess who I'm talking to right now?
This Sunday, there's a new dad on the block.
You're already here?
Got a great new place. I'm there right now, actually.
Introducing the Sons of Tucson.
You always drink right out of the carton?
Relax. My beard doesn't shed this time of year.
It's a special full hour of The Simpsons, followed by Family Guy and the new comedy Sons of Tucson.
Connect the dots here, man.
Sunday starting at 8 on Fox Richmond.
Need a break, a change of scenery, maybe a trip back in time before life got so crazy? Well, Fox Richmond is giving you a chance to be a part of the story in Colonial Williamsburg. Win a 3-day, 2-night package, including lodging at the Williamsburg Lodge, daily breakfast, length of stay, historic area tickets, and a $100 Colonial Williamsburg gift card. To enter, text STORY to 67336 for your chance to win. The winner will be announced Tuesday, March 16th on Fox News at 10.
Mom, Dad, I need to ask you a question. Have you started saving for my college?
It's important.
And tuition keeps rising.
Do me a favor and go to Virginia529.com and check out the Virginia Prepaid Education Program. It helps you save now for tomorrow's tuition. The benefits can be used anywhere.
Don't wait.
Enrollment ends soon. Seriously. You can thank me later.
Welcome back to Richmond, where Petersburg High School has a 24-21 lead at the half. I'm Joe Sullivan, joined by Tom Zamorsky from the Virginia High School League. And Tom, talk about sportsmanship. We've seen a lot of good of it, but at the end of the first half, tempers flared a little bit.
They did, but I think the referees did a good job of taking care of that. And it's, it's a high-tension game, and, they're playing for the state championship. But sportsmanship is a big emphasis from the league. It's all about respect. We want teams to respect each other, respect their fans, respect the officials, and it's something we constantly work with our schools on, and putting out information, expectations for these games, and it really, we've had a great series of games here. We're really pleased with the enthusiasm that we've seen from the fans, and just good hard play, but being respectful of each other.
Tom is not only working for Virginia High School League as an ACC football crew chief. And Tom, talk about the fans around here. It's not only the student athletes, it's the fans that we want to respect the game, right?
Absolutely. We encourage our student sections as much as we can to cheer as loudly as they want for their own team, but we don't want them showing any kind of disrespect towards the officials, towards the call, or towards their opponents. It's just there's no room for that, and that's our big emphasis, is treat somebody how you want to be treated.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. That's Tom Zamorsky from the Virginia High School League. We are at the half where Petersburg High School has a 24-21 lead. We're coming back to a wild Siegel Center live in Richmond after the break.
Loveland Distributing and Fox Richmond would like to congratulate Kristen Papadakis, winner of this year's Lights Camera Take Action video contest. Here is her winning entry, Big Baby. Tune into Fox Richmond March 12th and 13th to see the best high school basketball teams in the state battle head-to-head for supremacy as the Virginia College Savings Plan presents the 2010 Virginia High School League Basketball Championships. Live coverage from the VCU Siegel Center begins Friday at 2 p.m. Fox Richmond and the Virginia College Savings Plan are proud to bring you live statewide coverage of the Virginia High School League Basketball Championships March 12th and 13th on Fox Richmond.
Your business isn't quite so small anymore. And with all the growth comes the need for more protection. The people you trust for banking can serve your insurance needs too. BB&T. Over 80 years experience, 7th largest insurance broker in the country, 8th in the world. No matter what business you're in, our insurance professionals have the expertise and sound advice to protect you. BB&T Insurance Services. Global resources, client-focused.
And welcome back to the Siegel Center. Petersburg up 3 at halftime. The Virginia College Savings Plan halftime report. How will you play for college? Visit us at virginia529.com to learn more. Terry Sosifsky, Robert Fish. Robert, an exciting ball game so far. Both teams struggled early on, but now it's starting to heat up.
Yeah, no question. We thought it's been that way kind of all day, Terry. I think we've seen a lot of times where teams have struggled to put the ball in the basket, but once those jitters are out of the way, they start to get things in the hoop, and now we're seeing a little bit more offense from both of these teams as the second half begins to unfold here in a few minutes.
And we got some highlights coming up, Robert, and some great plays, individual plays, and you got a halftime update.
I'll tell you what, you look at this three-point shot on the wing. That's Theus coming in. A pretty good shot. He's wide open a couple of times and bombs away from outside. We didn't know what to expect out of him. We talked about some of the other guys. That three has opened up other things like the Carlos Anderson able to penetrate and lay one off the glass. And then Finney-Smith, he's the guy. He dishes in the corner, finds Theus open again. Focus on Theus. Smith gets inside, versatility. Kicks it back out. Canty with a nice finger roll. He's shown a lot from the first half here for Norcom. Other side of the coin, Petersburg's trying to look inside. Green surveys the situation. Nothing open. Pops the three-pointer. Bang. Norcom's been dropping down and trying to deny inside, especially with this guy's presence. And Finney-Smith had to get out of the way. He's got 2 fouls. Didn't want to get his third. The big guy just banged his way into a layup. Quentin Spain. Another three-pointer. Desmore's wide open. See Norcom sag off. Boom. Knocked down another three-pointer there. And one more time here is here's the steal. Quick outlet pass to the highlight machine. Maxwell on the dunk. That's the kind of play that Petersburg's going to need to try to get things going a little bit quicker.
Hey, Robert, how about the U-turning points of the game sponsored by U-Turn Sports Performance Academy and Bond Secure Sport Medicine?
Well, the numbers are pretty much even, as you can see, all the way around. Not a whole lot of difference in there from just about anything. This is the one thing here that will bother you if you're a Petersburg fan at the bottom. 3 of 11 from the line. They've missed out on some opportunities to expand that lead. If you leave Norcom around in this game, that could be a turning point of the game if Petersburg can't make those free throws.
And remember, fans, getting late in this ball game, shooting 60% from the foul line. Be interesting to see what Petersburg does because they will be fouled late in the game. When we come back to the Siegel Center, we got a great second half. Norcom going for the upset. Petersburg needs to be careful.
When's the right time to take a fresh look at your financial future? To adjust, to fine-tune. 30, 40, 50. There's never been a better time than now to talk to a BB&T Wealth Advisor. We ask questions, we listen and learn, and then we help you plan to make sure the wealth you have works for you as long as you need it. So the big party we call life never has to end. Don't wait to start planning for what's ahead. Do it today.
Fox has the cure to the common Monday. First, a student is mysteriously dying. But the cure is locked in her mind.
Her secret is killing you.
And House will do anything to get it.
I'm not telling a mother our best shot is a magic trick. I'm pretty sure it's our only shot.
All new House, then a terrifying abduction.
We cannot lose that vehicle.
And a twist that will change everything.
Security!
All new 24 after House.
Monday starting at 8 on Fox Richmond.
Loveland Distributing and Fox Richmond would like to congratulate Kristen Papadakis, winner of this year's Lights Camera Take Action video contest. Here is her winning entry, Big Baby.
Coach, we're about to start the second half. What did you tell your team at the half?
That we got to play a better half. We had some miscommunication defensively. We got to rebound the ball a lot better. And we got to pick up intense defense and do what we do. We got to get out in transition, get some easy shots, and then we got to attack them in the lane.
Good luck in the second half. All right, Terry, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. Leon Gouldsby, 81-25 in 4 years at IC Norcom. So he knows how to coach, as does Bill Lawson III. Norcom will start with the ball in the second half. And Theus with the ball right now burned Petersburg for 3 threes in that first half. And here's a guy that can burn Petersburg any time in the game. But he's rejected that time. But a deep three is up and in and out by Anderson. Good look, Robert, but it didn't go down.
How about Mack taking that rebound away from Spain there?
Yep.
Spain had a hand on it, and Mack kind of ripped it out of there. That's not an easy task. Foul, I think, coming up against Green.
You made a great point. Dorian Finney-Smith did a great job not to pick up that third foul. He never challenged Spain in the last 3 minutes of that half.
No, he couldn't afford to, really. And that's why Petersburg, like we talked about in the middle of the quarter there, trying to go inside. Don't get too conscious of doing that just to get the third foul on this guy. You know you want to get him out of the game, but he's not going to play hard-nosed defense. With sometimes you're better off not being in there if you can't really play your game.
2 big misses, and Maxwell, averaging 8.3 rebounds a game, reaches high for that board. Petersburg with 17 rebounds to 15, and Mason got caught with nowhere to go, and guess who's there to pick up the loose ball? DeCarlos Anderson, and he'll give it to Canny, who had a couple of clutch buckets in that third quarter. Here's the step back and a 2-pointer by James Theus. Put him on their back, Robert.
Tell you what, that's a guy that's really stepped up.
Desmore. Green lean-in shot, no good. And the ball deflected to Green. He missed it, but Maxwell's there to lay it in. And Maxwell now has a total of 13 points on the night. Second chance points, big situation here. It's a 3-point game. Cameron Mack drives it right by Spain and lays it in for 2, but did they call the charge or not? The charge on Mack and a big foul there. Is that his third?
That's number 3 on Mack.
Petersburg up 3. Maxwell rushed the shot, and Theus gets it down to Dorian Finney-Smith, and he's going to go coast to coast and miss the dunk as it's rejected partially by Maxwell, and this crowd got a kick as Kevin Green fouled about 25 feet away from the bucket. Not what you want to do if you're Kevin.
Reached around from behind. Now, we talked about Norcom slowing it down. They're not afraid to get into transition if it's there. Obviously, it was here. Smith took it in, and that's a challenge of a couple of big guys there. They can get up. A couple of Skywalkers.
It's a 3-point lead for Petersburg. And there's a rim shot, no good. And coming out of the back is Tyree Desmore for the Petersburg Crimson Wave.
A great move by Smith, but he just couldn't finish it.
And Desmore will start the offense over, and Smith has it on the outside. He loves to penetrate, and he loves to ditch it low, and Spain missed the easy layup. Spain's been frustrated all night long with several missed layups. And Smith's going to get it down to Anderson, and Anderson will challenge Maxwell. Pushing foul on Maxwell. He got part of the ball, but he got part of the body.
I think he got the hand check on the way to the bucket before he blocked the shot. You got to take the ball to the basket sometimes, even if you think you're going to get it blocked. There's the hand check. We're in here a little bit. That's a body. You got him with a hip, really. No hand check there, but he bumped him with the hip as he went. And let that one go, maybe.
Anderson 2 of 2 at the line. And he cuts the lead now to 2. It's amazing how all of these games we broadcast today have had the same pattern, low scoring, and then teams start to break it up in a little bit in the second half.
Well, you go back to the Alta Vista game against Madison. They had to play that style. Surrey was impressive with their girls win today. And I was impressed with Madison pulling out the win. And then Lake Taylor earlier tonight in the girls AAA championship. The one common theme, I guess, Terry, is the team that can play to the tempo they want ends up being in control for the most part.
Edmund Maxwell is in the game for Spain. They've only used 6 players, which is not unusual. And Duval Maxwell hooks it in right of the lane. And a timeout, a 20-second variety by Bill Lawson. Now, he will call a timeout, Robert, after a made basket right in the middle of the quarter and set up pressure defense. So look for that to happen with a 4-point lead.
Right, and Petersburg obviously wants to up the tempo a little bit. And, a lot of times we'll use a term, you'll hear the up-tempo term used. It doesn't necessarily mean to get out and run. It just means to make a team play a little bit faster than they might want to play. Put a little pressure on them. Make them get up and down the floor. Make them scramble a little bit. It doesn't mean to turn it into a track meet, per se, so much, Terry, just as it means to just get Norcom in a hurry. Make them play just a little bit faster than they might want to.
Bill Lawson grew up around Petersburg basketball his whole life. Having said that, he went to Matulka High School as a football player. And then his dad was at Matulka and got the job at Petersburg. He came a couple of years after Moses Malone left, so his dad's timing was not great, although his dad won over 600 games and is in the VHSL High School Hall of Fame. And right now, James Cannon's going to drive it to the bucket and float it in. He loves that floating shot tonight, Robert.
I'm impressed with this young man. I mean, he's a Liberty commitment right now, and Liberty better hope they can hold on to that.
2-point lead for Petersburg. Frank Mason has not hit a 3-point shot tonight. Maxwell's able to pick up the loose ball and lay it in. And Robert, he is really coming to life. He's got 15 points, although he's 0 for 5 at the line. It's a 4-point lead for Petersburg as Canny. Here's your 3-point specialist in Theus. They're looking for Dorian Smith. They get it to Smith against Desmore, and Smith lifts it up and in. Good post move.
Well, that's the versatility this young man has. As he said, he can post it, he can shoot a 3, he can bring it up, and we're going to see a lot of that as this game unfolds. I think a little bit more from him.
It's a 2-point lead as we tick to 4 minutes. Mason with the fancy dribbling, drives and throws it up and in. And that's what he does as well as anybody. He fakes, he drives, and he goes in for a layup.
And that's 4 fouls on Mack.
Well, Robert, you're going to see Frank Mason is just not a 3-point specialist.
He's just a sophomore, Terry, but what a quick first step. And Mack's got to do a better job of jumping at Mason there to try to block. He's got to be a little more under control. Slide over there, get your feet set.
And Mason rolls it in to complete the 3-point play.
But don't jump at the guy. Try to meet him. Be a better shot blocker if you can, but he picked up his 4th foul, unfortunately, for Norcom.
5-point lead, and it's rejected by Maxwell. Picked up by Desmore. Gets it down to Maxwell, and he's fouled, and Maxwell limps a little bit back to the bench.
No, he banged his knee earlier, I think, on a play when he fell to the floor on a finished possession earlier. So he's a little bit shaken up to start with. Tempo picking up, Terry. That's what Petersburg wants.
3:47 left to play. Petersburg on a run. We'll come back to see if the #1 team in the state can get it done.
Mom, Dad, I need to ask you a question. Have you started saving for my college?
It's important.
And tuition keeps rising.
Do me a favor and go to Virginia529.com and check out the Virginia Prepaid Education Program. It helps you save now for tomorrow's tuition. The benefits can be used anywhere.
Don't wait.
Enrollment ends soon. Seriously. You can thank me later.
There's a new light shining in southeastern banking. That light is BB&T. We may be new in town, but we're not new to banking. For more than 135 years, our rock-solid values have safely guided clients through all kinds of financial weather. If you're looking for exceptional service in your financial relationship, we invite you to give us a try and experience the BB&T difference today. BB&T, best bank in town since 1872.
Ethics, integrity, respect. Values we teach our children. Values we should always demonstrate on the field, from the sidelines, and in the stands. You see, good sportsmanship is about more than what we said. It's how we all became great as coaches, players, and fans. Remember, without good sportsmanship, there is no game. A message from the Virginia High School League.
We're back at the Siegel Center in Richmond, and let's see if the adventure continues for number 32, Devon Maxwell, who's 0 for 5 in the game at the line.
Well, he's taking this game over, and it's kind of one of the things, you know, when you talk about getting the crowd involved, this is a guy that can do it pretty quickly for Petersburg, and Norcom's got to be careful here, Terry. One of the keys, obviously, was to avoid dry spells, and they're in the midst of one right now, so they've got to find a way to get a couple points in here now before they get a little bit too sidetracked.
He missed the second one. He has scored this year 547 points with that made free throw. The lead is only 6 for Petersburg as we tick down to 3:35. And I know they'd love to get Theus open in the corner, and then we have a reach-in foul. The one thing people talked about this Petersburg team, they only use like 1 or 2 guys off the bench in big ball games. You know, when they have blowouts, they empty the bench, but they've only used 6 guys with Edmund Maxwell, the only reserve in. That's his brother.
Yeah, I've been amazed that they lost 4 seniors from last year's team.
Can't leave him open again. Can't leave him open. Theus is just absolutely incredible. And his brother may even be here tonight watching in the arena that he plays in during the regular season. And just like that, it's a 1-possession game. Until then. Great pass by Mason. Until then, he's got 18. This is Maxwell's last game.
There goes the highlight machine again.
The lead's back to 5 for Petersburg as we tick under 3 minutes, and a reach-in foul on Edmund Maxwell, the 5th on the wave. Now he's going to take the mantle from his brother next year.
Trying to cut Canty off. Like I said earlier, Petersburg with 4 seniors lost from last year. And then Maxwell, this guy was the 6th man.
So Dorian Raines played in the ACC tournament as we get a pass here, Robert.
That's Maxwell finishing it off.
3-second violation. Raines goes to Virginia Tech. Chris Moore to Virginia Wesleyan. Trajan Scott to New Jersey Institute of Technology. They lose 4 starters from last year, but they didn't lose him. Tyree Desmore just made a big shot.
Nice pull-up jumper. And the tempo, as we mentioned it going to the last break, it's starting to swing Petersburg's way.
And now a pumping foul on the outside, and Petersburg digging themselves into foul trouble, but it's not as bad because they have the 7-point cushion.
Maxwell just blocked that shot and got whacked in the nose after the play was dead.
Maxwell had a frustrating year last year, Robert. He was suspended from a couple of games. Bill Lawson didn't particularly like his attitude. And he's a new man this year.
Finney-Smith
so is here.
Don't close the door on this one.
No.
Finney-Smith is going to have to step up and take over here for Norcom, or somebody's got to step to the forefront. We've seen it all day. At some point, somebody's got to step up for all these teams.
Eastern Region Player of the Year. He just showed you why. He can cut the lead back to 4 with plenty of time in the 3rd quarter, and he does just that. You're right. The door is still open. Big time, and now a little pressure in the backcourt. Kevin Green normally doesn't handle the ball. He'll get it to Mason. Mason likes to go one-on-one, but he'll bring it back to midcourt and spread it out. Petersburg's lead is down to 4. They're going to get it to Maxwell, and he's going to maneuver and miss the shot. And his brother tips it up and in. How about that? Stick back by Edmund Maxwell. Anderson's going to try to cut the lead, and he can't. And Maxwell comes out of the pack. Off to his brother Edmund, back to Devon, who gets hammered going up. How about the two brothers getting along here, Robert?
Well, the tempo thing again, and that's created, Terry, that break created by Norcom getting a little bit quicker maybe than they might have wanted to there. Finney-Smith in the open floor, kicked it in the corner to Anderson. Take a nice three-point shot, but if you miss it, you better get the rebound, because if you don't, Petersburg's going to get off and running.
Maxwell is 1 for 7 tonight. 2 for 8. Big ball game. Nicholson in, 21. And Shelton Haskins in as well.
1 minute 39 left. Leon Gouldsby's going to steal a couple minutes for Canty. He's going to sit.
Spain, who's sat a while, and Edmund Maxwell gets a pat on the back from the Petersburg coaching staff, but this guy's going to get a lot of pats if they win the ball game. But he missed that free throw to keep it a 7-point lead.
Here comes Smith to bring it up, not on the point.
Went for the steal, and then Spain had it and threw it away, but it was last touched by IC Norcom. Petersburg's on the cusp of doing something that Norcom doesn't want to see him do, and that's get him to a double-digit lead. And remember, Frank Mason has not hit a three-point shot tonight, and he normally gets about 2 or 3 in before the end of the evening.
Too much hands in there that time. Yep. Shelton Haskins.
It's going to be the 15th foul. Jeremy Canty, who's had an outstanding game. You love that runner he's had all night long, Robert. He may be that other option to try to get them back in the ball game late in the third.
He comes back off that bench.
Petersburg with a three-pointer can go up by double digits for the first time tonight. There's Mason again. Just flowing by the defender.
He's quick.
Got a feeling he's going to be first team all Central District when the year starts next year. Petersburg up by 9, their biggest cushion. And Dorian Finney-Smith wants to change that. Now Anderson, double pump, can't get it. Tip is no good. The layup is good. Great effort by Dorian Finney-Smith. Petersburg up 7. This is more of their tempo as you.
I think they're going to take one shot here.
Yep.
As much as they want to keep the tempo up, they're going to stop it here for one shot.
They're going to try to find Maxwell somewhere. A little bit out of control that time. And Anderson can cut the lead at the buzzer. No good. Tip no good. And they missed a big opportunity there to cut the lead to 5. And a big sigh of relief from Bill Lawson and his staff. Big opportunity they missed there. And fans here at the Siegel Center, Petersburg, which hasn't won a state championship in 36 years, 8 minutes away, but they got a lot of work to do. And we'll be back in a moment.
For up-to-the-minute scores, brackets, and live blogs during the 2010 VHSL Basketball Championships, check Digital Sports on FoxRichmond.com. Digital Sports is sponsored by American Family Fitness.
Champion is your home improvement solution. For a more energy-efficient home, the solution is new Champion windows with Comfort 365 glass. For a new maintenance-free look, add Champion siding and a new energy-efficient Champion entry door. Need more space? A Champion patio room is the solution your family will enjoy all year long. So, For all your energy-efficient, maintenance-free home expansion needs, the solution is simple. Just call, click, or visit Champion today.
Join the Farmers Family Discount Club. Just text FARMERS to 68247 to receive discounts by text, or send an email to info@farmersfoods.com to receive your discounts by email. That's all it takes to join the Farmers Family Discount Club. Join the Farmers Family Discount Club. Just text FARMERS to 68247 to receive discounts by text, or send an email to info@farmersfoods.com to receive your discounts by email. That's all it takes to join the Farmers Family Discount Club.
Think you have what it takes? 102.1 The X and Fox Richmond are looking for the best chili cooks in Central Virginia. The X Chili Cook-Off 2010 is April 17th. Big cash prizes. More info at foxrichmond.com.
We are back in Richmond, Virginia. Petersburg leading Norcom 43-36. It's time for the BB&T bank side of the game, Robert.
Quentin Spain, the big man, beat it inside to him. And Smith has to get out of the way, and that's our BB&T bank shot of the game. West Virginia banking on that young man for some beef along one of the lines, defense or offense, I'm not sure which one.
Interesting note on Quentin Spain. The night he scored 30 against Thomas Dale, Bill Stort, the football coach, was there at Thomas Dale to watch his prize recruit. And a lot of football coaches will do that. Pretty good hustle by Kevin Green.
A lot of football coaches will watch, speaking of football, your quarterback, Petersburg there. A lot of football coaches will watch their football recruits on the basketball court because it tells them how well they move. Here, nice miss from Mason, but there is Green to follow. And he's going to the line.
And Kevin Green doesn't show much emotion. He just plays hard all the time. He's got 5 points. Remember, he made a three-pointer early in the game. And here's a 62% foul shooter putting that in. And Petersburg has a double-digit lead. And it's time for Dorian Finney-Smith to take over if he can. He tries to. Great hustle. What a play. And a jump ball, and guess who's in the middle of that? Kevin Green.
Smith might have injured himself a little bit there. Peter will be okay, but
Petersburg's allowing 54 points a game.
Now Smith has to be careful he doesn't try to do too much.
Cameron Mack will get a foul in his favor.
There's not much room to operate in there. You know, it might be best served to get a little inside-outside game mode. Get it inside to Smith and kick it back out. Down by 10 here now. And Petersburg did this the other night, Terry, to Patrick Henry Rowan, a tight game for a while. And then all of a sudden late, they pulled, kept stretching that lead, stretched it a little bit more, stretched it a little bit more.
Big miss. The coach of Meadowbrook in a game back in January made Petersburg beat him from the free throw line. He was down by 17 with 5 minutes to go. Hassan Brown. 2 big misses, but great hustle by Theus. Great drive by Jeremy Canty. He's done it all night long, Robert.
Not bad.
He's had a special night, hasn't he?
Really impressed with him. And he'll be back. He's just a junior.
Almost back court, and Cameron Mack. And a foul on Desmore. He did save the basket, however, it should be a 1-and-1 for the men dressed in white. And Desmore's frustrated at this moment.
Norcom trying to battle back. Norcom, Terry, is the first Portsmouth team to reach the AAA final. Now that's since they broke off into having a group AAA. In 1965, Woodrow Wilson did it, but that was not really classified then as AAA as it is now.
The lead is 8 for Petersburg, but they can cut into it right here, but they don't. Anderson fights for the rebound. Desmore comes to get it. And here's Petersburg into the front court. And Mason's going to bring it right back to midcourt. Acting like a point guard on this possession. Mason against Canny. Pretty good crossover dribble, and then he gets fouled on the floor.
The shoulder into him.
Should be the 1-and-1 now. I'm guessing we're going to see a few free throws by Petersburg here in the next 6:50.
Right here, Canty he got that shoulder in there trying to cut him off. Bumped him before he could really create a shot.
2 of 4 for this young man. 9 points. Had a career high 24 3 times this year. Petersburg's back up by 9.
A sophomore here who averages 15 points a game, roughly.
Kevin Green just reaches in and gets the rebound, and now Petersburg can milk some clock with a 9-point lead and 6:42 in the game. Spain can't get it to go, and Dorian Finney-Smith is going to fire it down to Canny. And Canny's going to stop and fire a shot, and no good. And there's Kevin Green averaging 4 rebounds a game to bring it down.
Well, that was a transition opportunity, but it opens up this type of game right here.
Missed the slam dunk, and Maxwell covered his eyes with his hands because he was frustrated that he didn't go in.
If you're going to do that, if you're Norcom, if you're going to take that 3, which wasn't a bad shot, you're going to open that up at the other end for Petersburg to come back the other way. Because this late, when you're getting late in the game right now, you're going to have to hit some of those 3s.
Kevin Green averaging over 4 assists a game. And he misses another free throw, does Maxwell. The frustration continues.
Talk about some of those U-turning points of the game.
He made that one.
Free throws. Still a 10-point lead, though.
60% free throw shooting team is Petersburg. Theus has hit 3 threes tonight, and he's got the ball out near midcourt. And Kevin Green right in his back pocket. And now Anderson will try to create off the dribble and lay it up and in. Outstanding move. And does Goolsby call timeout? I think he does, Robert. Plenty of time left in the ball game.
Well, Anderson's kind of the guy they go to for energy, and really the kind of guy they need to pick them up off the ground sometimes. And they've got to find a way to get that going right here, right now. They need to get a couple stops. Turn the ball over a little bit. And here's the Carlos Anderson, who has become the point guard. Gets the ball out high, works on Mason, gets the edge around him, and then is able to lay it in.
Well, I'll tell you what. Anderson, Canny, Theus have picked up the slack. Dorian Finney-Smith has not had what would be described as a huge game, but with 6 minutes to go, he can still wake up in a hurry, as we know. And there'll be some schools on his heels next year.
I would guarantee you they're probably already on his doorstep right now.
And he called the timeout, Goolsby did, to set up the press. And Green is going to try to get it across the line, and he does. He probably needs to give the ball up, and he does to Mason out front. Canny playing some good defense on Frank Mason. Shot blocked by Matt. Get it down to Canny. Canny off to Theus, who maneuvers. Almost walked. Out to Anderson. Corner. Canny, long 3, and it's good. Jeremy Canny buries it. Good ball game now, Robert.
Time shot.
Threes have been a big part of their arsenal tonight, and Petersburg's 10-point lead has been chopped in half. No quit in IC Norcom. When you're 24-4, you don't quit on anybody. They beat Thomas Dale last week. Maxwell's going to take the 2-point shot and miss it, and Cameron Mack gets the rebound.
Now, that may not have been a great shot right there from Maxwell. He can get that anytime he wants it.
Another 3 here is going to be big time. But Dorian Smith gives up the 3, and he gets fouled going to the basket. Robert, he did a great job not to take the 3 and to drive to the hoop.
Now Maxwell, Spain, I think, got called with that foul.
No, Maxwell.
Maxwell, you're right. Maxwell was not particularly happy with the result of that play. I think he was looking for a little more help on defense.
This kid looks tired. A two-shot foul, double bonus the rest of the way. Going back to that play, and I'm not sure if we have a replay. Smith did not take the three. Looked for a better shot, and he uses all the rim to get that in. That looked like a bad shot when it left his hands, but who cares? It went through anyway. Got a ball game again, Robert.
10-point lead. Norcom's cutting into it. A couple of big shots.
So look.
I don't know, Terry, you followed Petersburg all year. I don't know if they've been in this position.
They weren't it against Thomas Dale.
70 to 66.
Yeah, they built up a big lead against Dale, and then Dale got it down to 1 with a minute to go before Mason had 2 clutch free throws. Hopewell led Petersburg by 11 in the third quarter, and Hopewell back in early January in a makeup game. And now Petersburg's got to be careful. It's a 7-0 run by Norcom, and they're right back in the game. And Frankie Mason's going to spread it out. He'll operate against Anderson. He'll float it up from 5 and miss it. And Dorian Smith there to make the play.
I thought that was a good look.
This IC Norcom fans will be out of sight. And we have a timeout. A little pushing and shoving match. Is that on Maxwell away from the ball?
I think Maxwell's got to go to the bench for a minute. Be tended to. He's got a bloody nose, maybe. Now he may have to sit down unless they want to take a timeout.
Robert, just when you think Petersburg is kind of salted away a game, you got to give IC Norcom a lot of credit. These kids, and of course Anderson and Canny have been very good tonight.
Well, we talked about it for Norcom. Somebody had to step up when they were down by 10. And who was it going to be? It was make sure Finney-Smith's not trying to do too much outside of the offense, rely on his teammates a little bit.
Don't look now, but a 3-point field goal ties the game, and Diaz is the right guy. Shot is no good. Canny hassles for the rebound and lays it in. Jeremy Canny with a big-time play. It's a 9-0 run for Norcom, and Petersburg is on its heels. Let's see if Mason can change it. It is blocked by Dorian Finney-Smith, and Mack picks up the loose ball, and then he's fouled by Edmund Maxwell, and Petersburg getting frustrated.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Maxwell fouled him there. Not a particularly good move from the young man in a one-point game with 3:38 left. I mean, he got the rebound. You don't need to foul him. Just give him the ball, but he wrapped his arms around him and picked up a personal foul.
If you're an IC Norcom fan, you feel a lot better than you did 2 minutes ago. Why? You're down by 10, and now you're down by 1, and IC Norcom will shoot free throws when we come back. Petersburg in trouble here at the Siegel Center.
Mom, Dad?
We need to talk. I know this topic makes you uncomfortable, but soon I'm going to have to make some choices. In-state or out-of-state? Public or private? Savings or loans?
I found a website to help answer all your questions about saving for college.
It's Virginia529.com.
They have a lot of programs and options.
It's easy, affordable, and tax advantaged. Check it out, okay? I'm glad we had this talk.
Your business isn't quite so small anymore. And with all the growth comes the need for more protection. The people you trust for banking can serve your insurance needs too. BB&T. Over 80 years experience, 7th largest insurance broker in the country, 8th in the world. No matter what business you're in, our insurance professionals have the expertise and sound advice to protect you. BB&T Insurance Services. Global resources, client-focused.
From swimming to fishing, the James River has something for everyone. I love kayaking because nothing compares to being on the river just having fun. But it's always saddening to see a piece of trash float by. So please, remember that future generations want to enjoy the river just as we do.
Enter
the James and Me video contest. Create your own Don't Trash the River themed commercial, and you could win $1,000. Visit foxrichmond.com for details.
Welcome back to the Siegel Center. A 9-0 run by IC Norcom cuts the Petersburg lead to 1. And the Virginia College Savings Plan Smart Play of the Game. Do you have a game plan for college? Get in touch with Virginia529.com. Big smart play there, Robert.
Now Theus dumps the ball inbounds, sneaks back into that corner. Petersburg leaves him alone. You can't leave this guy alone. He's nailed three-pointer after three-pointer today in this contest. And there it is. Very smart indeed to get the ball to that man. 14 points and deadly from behind the three-point line.
3:38 to go in the ball game. Duvon Maxwell was out of the game. He's still out of the game with a bloody nose. So they lose offense right there. Now this kid, Cameron Mack, just missed a free throw and didn't come close, but he's got a chance to redeem himself. It's a double bonus, so there's absolutely no pressure on Cameron Mack. He can tie the game right here and now, and he cannot, Robert. Big miss there.
There's Maxwell, and they're still working on that nose. Petersburg's got to get him back in there. But until it stopped that bleeding. When he took that shot in the nose earlier, I guess.
Bill Lawson has been known to spread it out in close games. Another missed free throw. And Kevin Green gets the rebound.
Both sides have not been very stellar from the free throw line tonight, and there's a foul on Theus right in front of him.
Well, that could be a turning point because it's going to be a 1-and-1 and a technical foul. Oh, brother. On Theus, and Robert, you've got to hold your composure. Now, who got the technical, though? Was it Theus or was it Kevin Green?
Well, I think it was Theus.
Okay. If that's a technical, mark that down with 3:31 and Petersburg nursing a 1-point lead after Mack missed 2 free throws.
All right, let's take another look at it here. Theus called for the foul. He threw the ball back at Green, and that's what got the technical foul.
Yeah.
Green tossed it to him, but he threw it back, and that'll put you on the bench over there next to your coach.
Frustrating last 30 seconds for Goolsby. He had a chance to tie the game and missed some free throws.
He gets a personal foul and a technical foul.
You would figure that Mason is going to shoot the technical foul, being the best free throw shooter at 75%, but we'll see what Lawson does there. Bill wants an explanation, and 8th year as head coach.
Well, Kevin Green's been hit with a T2, Terry. That's why Bill Lawson's getting an explanation. So they both got hit with technical fouls.
But that would wipe it out and send Green to the free throw line for the 1-and-1. But the bad news for Norcom is that puts them up at 10 fouls.
Over at the scorer's table, Maxwell's waiting to check in. And he's still trying to take care of that nose.
Maxwell checking in for Petersburg.
It'll be hard to keep him out of there.
Yep.
Kevin Green will shoot a double bonus on the personal foul.
I don't know if Maxwell can check in yet, and then no free throws taken yet.
Yeah, they got to send him back to the table. He can't check in yet.
Good news for Petersburg because of that technical. That puts Norcom in the 10-team fouls.
I'm not so sure he should be checking back in. He's going to have to lay on the floor over there.
Yeah, this big free throw, and he rims it in. It's a 2-point lead. So the 2 missed free throws, which would have given Norcom the lead, and then the technical. And now Duvon does come in. That's Maxwell. And Kevin Green is 2 of 2 at the line. He can stretch the lead to 3 points, and he does. We'll be looking back at that double technical later on tonight. And Jeremy Canny will start the ball into the front court for Finney-Smith. Canny, a good 3-point shooter, but he'll float it up from 5 and hit it. That is just a great shot by Jeremy Canny, Robert.
15 points on the night.
50-49 Petersburg as we get down to 3 minutes to go in the ball game. Petersburg, number 1 in the state. Norcom, number 9 in the state. Norcom, 24-4. Petersburg, 29-0. Maxwell with cotton in his nose, calling for the ball. Maxwell maneuvers, puts up a shot, no good, foul in his favor. And he's not a good free throw shooter, Robert.
If that's on Mac, that's going to be his 5th.
Fouls on number 23.
Tonight, Robert, he is 3 of 10 at the charity stripe.
That is his 5th personal foul.
Mac says bye-bye.
5th on Mac.
The fans that have come to all 4 games today have not been cheated. Believe me. I think they should go back out and pay again. It's been such good basketball.
Well, Mac fouls out of this game. He's just a junior, though, and he's already got football offers, so we'll see. Keep an eye on him for next year, as I think Virginia and Virginia Tech have already offered this young man for football, but his basketball season coming to a close here.
Missed free throw. He's 3 of 11, and that's what we talked about at the outset of the broadcast, Robert. Missed free throws being a thorn in the side of Petersburg. He needs to make this to make it a 2-point lead, and he does. So we got 1 out of 2. And now Petersburg will put a little token pressure in the backcourt. And Dorian Finney-Smith, with his team down by 2, you know he wants to put the team on the back as this game moves along. He'll throw up a 3 and connect.
That's inside the arc.
Oh, inside. Okay, tie game. Desmore at the other end. Driving. Shot is up, no good. Spain with a rebound, lays it up and gets fouled. It should be tied at 51, right?
I thought it was a 2-point shot. I thought he was a little bit inside the arc, yeah.
Fouls on number 15.
So that would tie it at 51.
Yeah, 51. Last 2 minutes and 15 seconds is going to be excruciating for one of these coaches.
But it just shows you the versatility of what Smith's been able to do tonight. We've seen him drive, we've seen him post up, we've seen him shoot the jump shot on the wing and the three-pointer and right at the circle. Now Spain's going to the line. He's
6 months from now, he'll be suiting up for West Virginia to play football in the Big East. Can he break the tie? No, he can't.
Checking in for the Greyhounds, number 21, Paul Nicholson. 1 shot.
Like the other upsets we've had today, the underdogs have kept the game close. Petersburg had a 10-point lead, but that's melted away. And now Spain needs to make this free throw just to give his team a 1-point lead, but he can't. Loose ball underneath. Maxwell picks it up and turns and lays it up and missed it. Deflected out front to Desmore. Out to Mason, who hasn't connected on a 3 yet, but he's going to settle for a 2-point shot and back it in. Unbelievable. There's your highlight film of the night. Frankie Mason hadn't had a 3 tonight, but he might get a 3-point play the old-fashioned way. Pretty good shot there.
You know, you can always tell everybody you did this on purpose. I mean, Mason gets lost in there and just throws it up, banks it in. Heck of a finish from Mason.
Trying for a 3-point play the old-fashioned way, which would be second of the night. He missed it. And Dorian Finney-Smith with the rebound. Petersburg up by 2 with 1:57 to go in regulation time. Smith almost lost the dribble. Canny to Smith as they spread it out. A 3-point field goal gives Norcom the lead. Petersburg has a 2-point lead, and they missed a boatload of free throws. A foul out front, I believe. No secret here, it's double bonus the rest of the way, so any foul will produce 2 shots. Now, Dorian Finney-Smith, Robert, did hit a couple of free throws earlier tonight and missed a couple.
Well, the road for both of these teams to get to this point has been very, very difficult all the way through.
Great ball game. Shot is up, he hit it.
Now Petersburg had to beat Thomas Dale in the region final. Then they had to beat Maury. Had to take care of a tough Patrick Henry Roanoke team. Other side of the coin, you got Norcom having to beat Phoebus, who was 25-3.
Rather be lucky than good, and he's lucky and good. It's tied at 53.
Then they had to beat Mooring. I mean, this has just been back and
How
forth.
about Desmore driving the length of the floor? Maxwell picks up the loose ball. He missed it. Nicholson is traveling.
Everybody's got to keep their composure now, Terry, on both sides with 1:30 left.
And Bill Lawson says, I need to stop the clock and settle my team down, as you mentioned. And Leon Gouldsby says, I love being in this position, trying to beat the #1 team in the state with 1:30 to go. Petersburg does like to run clock in a close game, and they have the ability to spread it out. Might be too early to look for the final shot, however.
I don't know if they'd give you that opportunity. Norcom would give the opportunity there. They may elect to foul.
Petersburg will look back at this game much like the Kings Sport game as Gouldsby talks with his players, because foul shooting has been a big bugaboo tonight, Robert, and it's a shame because Maxwell's played very well, but the free throws have not gone down.
Take a look at what we got left here. 1 timeout to 2, and the foul situation's pretty much even. So no matter what, from here on in, 10 fouls for each.
If you're a fan of one of these teams, you might need some oxygen by the end of the night, because here's Quentin Spain. Frankie Mason, we saw that Mason doesn't have to shoot threes to be effective, and as a sophomore, Robert, he doesn't mind taking the last big shot of a ball game. Good job by Spain to get rid of the basketball. Mason will bring it back to midcourt. 1:21 to play in the ball game. Mason loves to shoot late in games. Going to take a 23-footer and miss it. Canny gets the rebound.
Yeah, that's not a good shot, Terry.
No. Anderson throws it up the court. Canny picks it up with 1 minute to play, and now they can hold on for the final shot, but Maxwell takes it away for the Wave. Big turnover.
Got to get a better shot this time.
Yeah. Now Petersburg, if they can, will hold it for the final shot. The question is, will they let him? Kevin Green will dribble to the middle of the floor. Green is trapped. He needs to get rid of the basketball. Petersburg has only 1 timeout remaining, and you can bet they'll call a timeout from the bench. Under 30 seconds to go. Green. Almost walked. Desmore in midcourt. Petersburg's either going to win it or send it in overtime.
We'll think about the timeout now.
Yep. Kevin Green almost moved the pivot foot. 10 seconds. They better maneuver here. Green drives, and he's fouled out front with 7 seconds to go.
Wow. Dorian Finney-Smith. That is his 5th
That's 5 on Smith.
Wow.
Finney-Smith falls out of the game at 17.
Take another look at it. Got the hands reached out. It's a tough way to foul out of the ball game for a state championship on the line.
Tough way to coach. 7 seconds to go in the game, tied at 53.
Well, here comes his free throw bunker. Now you miss one of these, and you got 7 seconds. Norcom does to set something up. 7 seconds, an eternity in this situation.
And Gouldsby, I believe, is going to call timeout to ice him. So each team will have 1 timeout.
Full timeout, icing Norcom.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're right, Robert. You missed 1 out of 2, and then Norcom has plenty of time to get the ball up the floor.
Even if you make them both, they still got time to get up the tie. They can get Norcom can get a decent look to tie or win the game. Either way, if you make 2, if you miss 1, if you make 2, you can tie it, or you can. Well, we've seen guys dribble the length of the floor in less than 5 seconds in some games. So this, of course, the big thing for Norcom is that Finney-Smith is out.
Petersburg led 48-38 with about 5.5 minutes to go, and They've only scored 5 points since, Robert.
I guess you got to go to the Carlos Anderson. And I was not clear if Diaz fouled out on the foul of the technical, whether that was his 4th and 5th. Because we have not seen him return since then.
Petersburg does an excellent job on missed free throws of getting offensive rebounds. And if Kevin Green makes the first and misses a second and they tap it out, they can wrap up the ball game. So keep an eye on Quentin Spain and Maxwell, Duval Maxwell. But if you're Norcom, you go to Canty or Anderson here. Yeah, no question about that. Kevin Green is 2 of 2 tonight, only 62% on the year. Missed it.
Here we go.
Kevin Green, a junior, starting quarterback. Shot is up and in. He used all the rim. It's a 1-point lead for Petersburg. Down the floor to Carlos Anderson. Splits the defense, lays it up, no good. Tipped in. Tipped in with 0.5 seconds to go.
Petersburg got a timeout, Terry. It's going to be about a second and a half left on the clock, I think. It says 0.5 now, but I think when the ball went in, there will be about a second and a half left if they get a chance to look at it and maybe check it to see. I'm sure they're going to check the clock, but I think we're going to see that about that much time. Roughly. What a big follow there.
Oh, yeah.
Now here's the clock. It's hard to tell when they call the timeout. Here's the miss, and look at the follow on the backside here. Back up and in, and it's going to be about 1.5, I think. Right about in there. 1.3, they reset it to that.
And the guy who made the shot hadn't made a point all night, Haskins, until then.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think that the way it would be?
It's a 1-point lead.
And free throws. Free throws, free throws, free throws. We mentioned it earlier in that U-turning points of the game from U-Turn Sports Performance Academy and Bon Secours Sports Medicine. Man.
I know we harped on it all night long, but that's going to be the difference in your ball game. They did a great job to get the proper amount of time on the clock. And Petersburg has no timeouts remaining, so they can't throw it to midcourt and call another timeout. They may just...
The officials, Terry, were having a discussion earlier. I don't know if they're looking at the timeouts remaining or if I think Norcom has one, or maybe they're looking at where to inbound the ball and can you run the baseline on the inbound.
Petersburg players are stunned in the fact that they led by 10 here in the 4th quarter. You got to give a lot of credit to Norcom. What you want to do is throw a baseball pass and see if Maxwell can catch it and lay it into the buzzer. And remember now, this is difficult because they got to throw it in the length of the floor.
He can run the baseline. Green can run the baseline.
And Haskins going to throw his hands up in the air. Petersburg looking for a miracle.
The quarterback's going to throw the pass
to Maxwell, and the ball's out of bounds, and it belonged to...
Was not touched. It should go back to the other end of the floor.
And now Goolsby's going to call his last timeout. It didn't touch anybody.
It goes back to the other end. It didn't touch anyone.
I see Norcom. They inbound it and touch it. Ball game's over. They have one timeout remaining if they need to call timeout, if they can't get it in before the 5-second count. Inbound. Traveling violation with 0.6 seconds. Throw another baseball pass down the floor. Boy, oh boy. Paul Nicholson, all he had to do was stand there.
Now this time I don't think he can run the baseline.
No. Need to throw it down to Spain. Kevin Green will try to inbound it.
You got to shoot it as soon as you touch it.
Yep. Catch. Ball game's over. Ball game's over, and IC Norcom wins their first state championship game in dramatic fashion. They were down by 10, and they come up big time, and Petersburg is denied of an undefeated season, Robert, for the second consecutive year. Last year in the semifinals, and this year in the last game of the year.
What a finish. Tremendous finish. And just the free throws, we hammered it for the entire game, how it was going to end up turning things around. And if you're Petersburg, you've just got to be heartbroken because of you fell short last year. Man, what a finish for that man right there who fouled out late in the game and still sees his team come back to win.
He got a big smile on his face. IC Norcom with the upset, and a state championship is going back to Portsmouth.
Come to a world where today's hottest vehicles, tomorrow's cutting-edge technology, and custom cars rule. It's the